we've got a lot to talk about. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Now, for today, we're going to be taking a very close look at the Maxsym TL 508. This is the brand new 2021 model. It's been updated since the last year, and it may look the same, but the way you can tell this is the 508 is by, you have a 508 sticker here. And also it has keyless go. So instead of a regular key, you just have this key fob, just like the Maxsym 400. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a proper look at the scooter, and we're going to start off exactly as we usually do with the front end. All right, so here up front, we have 275mm brake discs on both sides of the wheel, as you can see, on both sides, on dual piston calipers on either side. We have full LED lighting, both indicators, both daytime running lights, low beams and high beams. We have dual channel ABS, front and rear. We have fairing mounted wing mirrors, an adjustable windscreen. Unlike the Maxsym 400, which is on a slider and you can adjust it on the go, this you have to unscrew and then mount it in the tall position. So it has two positions, but you have to unscrew to move it. Also, the cooling radiator is mounted right behind the front wheel, right in the fairing below. It is pretty low mounted in the scooter, but it is protected by a radiator guard, so there shouldn't be any problems with rock chips or stuff like that. Now, in terms of switchgear, now I have done a video about the switchgear. You can press up here and see a full dashboard tour in total detail, but the gist of the matter is we have keyless go. We press once to activate it, and then we turn it. The ignition is now on. The dashboard comes to life. We have adjustable brake levers on either side. This controls the screen. This is for your high and low beams. This is your indicators. This is your horn, kill switch. We have our hazard lights and our engine start button. So here in the ignition we have the regular situation as we did on the 400. So we can turn the ignition on, we can lock the handlebars. Let's turn it on, press it, handlebars are locked. And also we can open the fuel flap. This is where the fuel goes. And this button opens the seat. Also, we have two cubby holes here. They're not too big, but they are decent sized. Here we have a key, and also here, let me just show you. In the left glove box, we have a keyhole here. Let me just put this away. And with the 508, besides the keyless fob, you get these emergency keys. So in case the scooter runs out of battery, we just stick our key here, turn it, and we can open the seat in case the battery runs out and we need to get something from under the seat. One thing I don't like about this keyless entry, keyless go stuff, it's also present on the 400. So you have the fob to turn it on. You have this emergency key to open the seat. Problem is, in case the receiver here fails, and let's say your key fob has battery, it's working perfectly, your scooter has battery, it's perfect. The only problem is this receiver here stopped working, or maybe you drop your key in water and you break it. You can use this emergency key to open the seat like I showed you, but you can't use this emergency key to turn on the scooter. There is no way to turn on the scooter using this key. The only way to turn it on is with the fob and with this working. If this doesn't work or the fob doesn't work, you either need your second fob, or if this doesn't work, you need to take it in to have it serviced, because there is no way to turn it on. And I know this is usual with many keyless scooters, keyless motorcycles, and also keyless cars, but I still don't like not having a backup to this, a hard backup like a simple key. They made a key to open the seat, why not give me somewhere to put it in and turn on the ignition? That's just my thought on it. Now the seat, as you can see, opens backwards, and there's a good reason for this, but we will get into it a little bit. The under seat storage is about big enough for a helmet and a little bit extra space on the side, so we're gonna say something like a helmet and a half. The problem is it's so small because here we have the fuel flap, here is the fuel tank, and the engine and transmission is somewhere here. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll talk about them in a little bit. Alright, so on the back side, we have a pretty hefty exhaust pipe. Some Maxsym TL branding, the rear light which is LED, the rear tail which is also LED. We have a single 275 millimeter rear brake disc. And also here we have the parking brake, which is engaged by lowering the side stand. As soon as you lower the side stand, the cable pulls on the rear caliper and engages the rear brake. So because this is a heavy scooter, it's over 200 kilograms, a bit over 200, you don't have like other scooters somewhere on the dash to pull a lever to turn on the parking brake, to engage the parking brake. You just put it on its side stand and the parking brake is engaged. The rear wheel is locked. As you can see, with the side stand down, I lift it, I try, it won't go anywhere. Alright, so I've turned the scooter around because I want to talk about the engine situation. Now, regularly on scooters, you would have usually a single cylinder engine mounted somewhere here, and the transmission would be mounted on the swing arm. Now, what makes the 508, the TL, different from any other scooter apart from the Kymco AK550 and the Yamaha T-Max? Those are the other scooters that use this sort of arrangement. The engine is a 508cc two-cylinder parallel twin engine, putting out about 46 brake horsepower and 50 newton meters of torque. The engine is mounted, the engine and transmission are mounted within the frame of the scooter. Now, what that does is bring the weight of the engine more far forward. It does eat up cargo space, but it brings it more forward. And that's how you get a perfect 50-50 weight distribution for the scooter. And that's why this scooter rides more like a motorcycle than a scooter. Now, the engine is somewhere here. The fuel tank is somewhere here. This is the transmission. And power is sent to the rear wheel via a chain. A chain just like on a motorcycle. And if you look there, you can adjust the rear wheel so you can adjust the tension on the chain. Also, the rear suspension, being a normal swing arm, they were able to put a multi-link suspension with an external reservoir for the damper. It's a really high-tech suspension, and it really brings out the handling characteristics of this scooter. The front end is a regular front end, nothing special. Just a normal fork. It's just a normal, the only part is it's an upside down fork. But other than that, it's a normal front suspension. Because this year was weird with the Euro 5 emission standards and SYM had a lot of models to get out, the 508, they had to get it out quickly, and the traction control system was not calibrated for this scooter. This 2021 model has the brand new engine, has the ABS, but unfortunately it does not have traction control. Future models at some point will start getting traction control. We are told they are coming. But for now, you can only buy a 508 without traction control. I'll let you guys know as soon as we have them. We have the new models with traction control. But honestly, the way this handles, and it's a very nice handling scooter, maybe if you ride in extreme conditions like extreme cold or extreme rain and you're really heavy on the throttle, you would need traction control. But in regular conditions, it's a pretty docile scooter and you don't need traction control for it. Also, like on all SYM scooters, you have a center stand and a side stand. And like I said, the side stand activates the rear brake. All right, peeps, now let's get this. Let's take it for a little ride. Unfortunately, as you can see, we don't have a license plate. I know. I'm sorry. It still hasn't got a license plate, so we can't take it out on the road. We can only use it here in the yard for now. I'm specifically saying for now, because it is going to get a license plate, and as soon as it does, I'm taking it out on the road. I really want to see. We're gonna do a proper first ride with it, and also we're gonna do some performance testing. But for now, let's turn it on and hear this new 508 engine. Let's see it roar to life. Beautiful sounding. The rear light has a really nice way of looking with, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but I really like how the rear light looks. And also the front. The front looks really angry with the two little lights. That's the low beam, and then the two marker daytime running lights. I really like how the front end and the back end looks. And all in all, it's a very good looking scooter, especially in this satin black. It's really hard to keep clean, but here in the sun, this satin black really looks special. But let's get on it. Let's have a little bit of fun with it. Easy to get easy to get off the center stand. Let's get some heat in the engine first. Let's see how we are doing for. So water temperature 51 degrees, 52 and climbing. We'll do 2 loops to get it up to temperature. And then we'll get on it a little bit, as much as I can in the yard. Now the thing is with the TL, the old TL had a bit of a problem. Yeah, it was powerful. It was really powerful. But the thing is, it had a bit of a torque dip, really down low. And because of that, the acceleration wasn't quite instant, as you would have expected. It took a little to get up to speed. Like from 0 to 20 kilometers, it took a little bit longer. But then after 20, it just accelerated like hell. But it was that little bit at the beginning, the 0 to 20, which was disconcerting for a lot of people, because, I don't know, it felt weird. It felt like the transmission wasn't engaging, the engine was bogging down, something like that. But now we are 80 degrees on the water temperature, that's fine. I think now it's the opposite. It's the opposite problem. It's really hard to keep at speeds like 15 kilometers an hour, because it always wants to go. But let's see how it launches. So we're gonna do a quick pull, I think, up until the van. From idle, and we're gonna give it a handful of throttle. So keep your eye on the speed. It still has a little bit of a delay when you set off. Like straight from zero, it still has a little bit of a delay. But I think that's more to do with the weight of the scooter. Because as soon as you're going like 20, it's massively powerful, like really, really powerful. There's still a bit of a torque dip, but only very down low. As soon as you're going, my God, it's punchy. Jesus, it really takes off on you. And the brakes, they're the same brakes as they are on the Maxsym 400. The same rotors, 2 up front, 1 in the rear, the same calipers. And I'm really glad they used them because they're wonderful on the 400 and they're wonderful here. Really nice lever feel, really precise brake, really immediate braking. And the handling, you can chuck it in and feed the power in. And when you stand on the brakes, it almost stands on its nose. This is fun, this is fun. Yep, there's still a bit of a torque dip like at 0 kilometers an hour, but that's okay because this thing doesn't have traction control. I really wouldn't want it to be all that instant. Like here on 18 we can accelerate and then the power comes in at 40 kilometers an hour. It properly comes in. Let's do a test on gravel. Okay, so we have a light surface. Let's give it some beans and see if I can control, because that torque dip should help me control the power on loose surface. Yeah, see? It broke traction, but it broke traction lightly. Let's try it again. Because it doesn't come on instantly, it helps you manage the power on loose surface. Like there, I was on gravel and accelerating, and I could modulate the throttle to make sure the scooter kept traction. So yeah, I think we're gonna talk about more how about the riding experience when the scooter gets a license plate and we can properly take it out on the road. But for now, the torque gap is very much reduced from the previous model. Actually, it's exactly where it should be because it's easy to manage now. The handling is real nice, easy to control. It feels light, it feels very flickable, at least here in the yard. The brakes are beautiful. The brakes are absolutely beautiful and very, very confidence inspiring. The suspension in this bump yard, it's hard but also not uncomfortable. But for now, this has been it on the 508. Thank you so very much for watching, for liking the videos, for subscribing. If you're new to the channel, haven't subscribed yet, and if you enjoyed this content, please give me a subscribe and a like down there. It really helps the channel quite a lot. And until next time, I'm gonna still be having a little bit of fun with the 508, but I'll see you guys later. So take care out there and ride safe. Goodbye.